Afternoon, Chris. How's the squad looking as we head into the last game before the international break?
Yeah, everything's the same as it was really. Kai Wagner's still out. Obviously, we'll have to see how he is after the international break. But yeah, other than that, everyone's okay.
How's Alex Cochrane progressing in his rehab? Is he any closer to being back involved?
Yeah, he's definitely closer. He's had the boots on for the first time in a long time, so he's been out on the grass a little bit. Not with the team, just building up. So I think he might end up being a similar time to Kai if we can get him back for the last few games of the season. Is the aim.
You've had the luxury this week of a full week leading into this game on Saturday. Is that going to be a benefit for you in the squad, do you think?
I hope so. We've tried to use the time effectively. We've had some, pretty good meetings, competitive training, preparation for the next match. You don't always get that. You very rarely get it in the Championship. So we've tried to use the time well, prepare us for the game against Derby.
When you reflect back on the draw against Sheffield United last Saturday, is it still a case of frustration and a missed opportunity, maybe, considering the amount of chances we had on goal, hitting the woodwork 4 times, for example?
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously the perspective comes easier over time and you say, well, okay, we've got 4 points out of those 2 games and we lost a few before that, so we got going again, and there's a lot of positives there. But the context is that we did have the extra man for a large period and we couldn't quite turn a lot of dominance and a lot of box action into actually goals and win the match. So of course, but we, like anything, you move on from that and you start focusing on the next game. So we'll go for the next one.
You've spoken recently about finding that sort of clinical edge to our players. Been a few times at home, particularly in the last few months, where we've been 1-0 up and we haven't put the game to bed. Has that been a sort of concern for you, and is that something that the players will hopefully learn from going forward?
Yeah, I think overall, we look at it, we've been very good at home, and we have scored obviously plenty of goals at home and won a lot of games. I think away from home, defensively, we've been in the main very good, but we haven't scored enough goals away from home. I think that's the thing that would just get us up in a game or to get a point or win a game away from home, and that's probably to focus on in terms of goal scoring. It's probably been more away from home than actually at home. So yeah, look, I think we keep working. We need to score goals in multiple ways. I think we have a lot of the ball. We're one of the top teams for possession in the league, but we have to work really hard to create chances. And if we're not clinical when we take them, we're not being effective enough at the moment from set pieces or counter-attacking and more simpler ways of scoring goals, more direct ways of scoring goals. So we've got to be really, really, really perfect to score from the attacks that we're having. So first thing is, can you be more dangerous from your set pieces and your fast breaks, and then can we obviously be more clinical and ruthless when we do get chances around the goal. So all things we're talking about, we're working on in training and hoping to improve.
You spoke not so long ago about sort of like this block of 7 games before the break and then going into the final 7 after that. How would you assess going into Saturday the previous 6 that we've just had?
Well, eventful like the whole season, but we had a bit of a dip, obviously. I think was Norwich included within that, but we had obviously a great result there. Then we've dipped down we lost 3 games in a row, but then we picked up again with 2 much better performances and results. So yeah, a bit of a mixture. We're still in a competitive position, even going into this weekend's game. I think this weekend's game is a big one. Against a team that's flying high, and we've got to really try and make it count this weekend. No doubt about that. So that's what we've been focusing on.
7 points off the playoffs as it stands. Are you still of the belief that we can still get in there, even though it might take an exceptional sort of run between now and the end of the season?
Yeah, I think it would take an exceptional run. I think we're running out of time and chances and opportunities for that, just naturally because of the games dwindling away. So I think a big win is what's necessary, and this is the chance this weekend to do it.
Have you spoken to the players about that and sort of do you not necessarily need to lay down the gauntlet? They know how many games are left and they probably know what's required.
They do, but I have spoken to them about it. I always try and gauge the mood and make sure that I'm setting the players up with the right mindset to go and perform at their best and win games for this football club. And I think we're at a time now where we're coming towards an international break. Whatever happens this weekend, there's a couple of weeks before we play again. So we have to really go after this game, because we're playing against a really strong team, by the way, but we're not going to keep getting opportunities to push. We're going to need to really take one and make a big step, and then obviously that will give us a lot of belief. So we are in a competitive position, that's what I'd say right now. It's really tight still, but there's a bit of a gap between that very top end and us. So we need to put together something pretty special at this level, which I do believe we're capable of. But, you know, like I say, this weekend's game, we have to go and prove that.
Derby, as you mentioned, are a side who are well in the mix for those playoff places. What sort of test are you expecting at Pride Park on Saturday?
I'm expecting them to be very well organised, hard to beat, dangerous on the break and on set pieces. They've got a front four that have all got a goal in them really, and they've been very good this year. I say every time I've watched them, I thought they've been good. And they're at home, they'll be the hot favourites, no doubt. They're riding high, so yeah, we have to deal with their threat and carry our own threat. Like I say, can we go and create really big chances in the game, score goals? We're going to need to.
Can we take any lessons from the previous two away games, Millwall and Charlton in particular, going into Saturday, that physical element, and maybe being a bit more on the front foot than we were in those two games? Yeah,
definitely. I think we can take things from those games. They're obviously a tiny little bit different with how they set up to Derby, but yeah, we didn't do enough in those games. They were both a real underperformance from our point of view. Not good enough for what we really need. So we're going to need to be better than that to get a result.
Just finally, Chris, can I just ask you about Kike, who wasn't in the squad on Saturday against Sheffield United? Is he fit and available for the weekend?
He is, yeah, he is. He obviously picked up a shoulder. He had a bit of a shoulder issue a few weeks ago, but yeah, he's around. He's training.
Thank you.